In the time of the judges, when the people of Israel were continually turning away from God and suffering the consequences of their disobedience, there lived a man named Gideon. His story would become one of the most inspiring tales of faith, courage, and God's deliverance. Gideon was born into a family of the tribe of Manasseh in a period when the Midianites, a nomadic people from the east, oppressed Israel. The Midianites, along with their allies, the Amalekites and other eastern peoples, would regularly invade Israelite lands, plunder their crops and livestock, and bring the people to the brink of starvation. It was a time of great hardship and fear for the Israelites. Gideon's family was relatively obscure, and he considered himself the least among his brothers. He was threshing wheat in a winepress, a concealed location, to hide the grain from the Midianites, when an angel of the Lord appeared to him. The angel addressed Gideon, saying, "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior." Gideon, taken aback by this greeting, responded, "Pardon me, my Lord, but if the Lord is with us, why has all this happened to us? Where are all his wonders that our ancestors told us about when they said, 'Did not the Lord bring us up out of Egypt?' But now the Lord has abandoned us and given us into the hand of Midian." The angel reassured Gideon and said, "Go in the strength you have and save Israel out of Midian's hand. Am I not sending you?" Gideon, still uncertain of his calling, replied, "How can I save Israel? My clan is the weakest in Manasseh, and I am the least in my family." The angel's response was, "I will be with you, and you will strike down all the Midianites, leaving none alive." Gideon asked for a sign to confirm the angel's message and offered a sacrifice, which the angel miraculously consumed with fire. Gideon realized that he had indeed encountered a messenger from God, and that he was chosen for a significant task. Filled with courage and faith, Gideon obeyed God's command and began to rally men from the surrounding tribes to join him in battle. To test his faith and commitment, God instructed Gideon to reduce his army. Initially, Gideon gathered an army of 32,000 men, but God told him, "You have too many men. I cannot deliver Midian into their hands, or Israel would boast against me. My own strength has saved me." God instructed Gideon to allow any soldier who was afraid to go home, and 22,000 men departed, leaving Gideon with only 10,000 soldiers. Still, God said, "There are still too many men." God then had Gideon bring the remaining troops to a stream and instructed him to watch how they drank water. Those who knelt down to drink by putting their faces in the water were sent home, and only those who cupped the water in their hands and lapped it like a dog remained. This left Gideon with just 300 men. With this small but faithful band of warriors, Gideon prepared for battle against the Midianites. God encouraged Gideon once more, saying, "With the 300 men that lapped, I will save you and give the Midianites into your hands." To further boost Gideon's faith and confidence, God allowed him to overhear a dream in the enemy camp. A Midianite soldier was telling his comrade about a dream in which a loaf of barley bread rolled into the camp and flattened a tent. The comrade interpreted the dream, saying, "This can be nothing other than the sword of Gideon son of Joshi the Israelite. God has given the Midianites and the whole camp into his hands." Gideon knew this was a divine confirmation of their impending victory. He divided his small army into 3 groups, giving each man a trumpet and a clay jar with a torch inside. They encircled the Midianite camp in the middle of the night and, at Gideon's command, broke the jars, revealing the torches and blowing their trumpets. The sudden noise, light, and confusion threw the Midianite army into disarray, and they began to flee in panic, turning on each other. The Lord caused the Midianites to turn against one another, and Gideon and his men pursued them. The Israelites called for reinforcements from the tribes of Ephraim, Manasseh, and others, and the enemy was completely routed. The Midianite leaders, including Oreb and Zeb, were captured and executed, and the land was freed from the oppression that had plagued Israel for years. Gideon's faith and leadership had brought about a remarkable victory. However, after the battle, the people of Israel wanted to make Gideon their king. Gideon refused, declaring that God alone should be their ruler, and he only asked for a gold earring from the plunder taken from the defeated Midianites. With the gold, Gideon made an ephod, which became a symbol of worship for the Israelites. Despite his initial humility, Gideon's success and newfound fame led him astray. After his death, the Israelites returned to their sinful ways and worshipped the ephod as an idol. Gideon's legacy served as a cautionary tale about the dangers of idolatry and the need for continued faithfulness to God. Gideon's story is a testament to the power of God to use even the most unlikely of individuals to accomplish his purposes. Gideon, the least in his family and the weakest in his clan, became a mighty warrior through his faith and obedience. His story continues to inspire people to trust in God's strength and guidance, even when facing overwhelming odds. Gideon's example reminds us that it is not by our might or power, but by God's Spirit, that we can achieve victory in our lives.